stages of STLC. First one is a requirement gathering as well. But here, these requirements, we call it as NFRs. You can call it as NFR gathering or non-functional requirement gathering and analysis. Okay, you not only gather the requirements, but you do the analysis of it, saying that, oh, this is possible, this is not possible. Okay, and while you're doing the analysis, you will also understand those requirements as well very well. Okay, so this is the stage wherein you gather the requirements. From whom do you gather these requirements? Let's say you are working for a company called Cognizant. Okay, now you're gathering these non-functional requirements. From whom do you gather these non-functional requirements, guys? From whom do you gather these non-functional requirements? Simple question. From the stakeholder, or from the business team, or from the client is a simple word, or a business analyst. One business analyst is not representing our testing team. He's representing the business. He's representing the stakeholders. He's representing the client. Okay, so if you say stakeholder or business analyst, it is one and the same. Okay, business analyst is one guy who is representing all of them. So I'll start using the business owner. Product owner is also the good word here. Okay, product owner, business analyst, stakeholder, client, anybody, it's all same person. I mean, same team or same thing. So you gather these NFRs from them. Okay, so who is the responsible person from the performance testing team? Who is the responsible person? Usually your performance test manager is the responsible person to do the gathering, ideally. Okay, performance test manager. But in some teams, even the test lead will step up and he will do the gathering as well. Okay, when I was a test lead, I used to do all the gathering for all the projects because my manager used to leave it to me. Kumar, you do it. Okay, so some people tend to escape work, so used to, some people say that, okay, this guy can learn, okay, let him learn. So there are different ways. So typically test manager should, but sometimes test lead also steps up and do gathering for all of them. Okay, what is the outcome of this stage? What is the outcome of this stage? Non-functional requirement document. Okay, so you not only gather it, but you document all that information into a particular document. Okay, so the test manager or the test lead, whoever have stepped up and wanted to do the gathering, he will gather all the information and put it in a document. Okay, so once you have gathered all the NFRs, this is when the stage is done. Okay, so there is an interview question around this. Okay, especially in US, people tend to ask this. What are the challenges that you have faced when you're gathering the requirements? I will repeat the interview question again, guys. What are the challenges that you have faced when you're gathering the non-functional requirements? Okay, this seems to be a general question in the interviews. I'll talk about my challenges. Okay, some of the, not all of them, but some of the clients, they are doing the performance testing for the very first time, not as a company, but as a team. Okay, so the business analyst, as you said, they haven't provided these NFRs before. They have provided the functional requirements, no issues. They have created, all those documents, what is that business requirement document, functional requirement document. They have created all that before. But when it comes to non-functional, it is also new to them. So I have seen this, this is the realistic I'm sharing, guys. So they don't know themselves what to share. Okay, so this is when, as a performance expert, testing expert, you guide them saying that this is what I'm expecting from you so that I can do the performance testing. This is the information I need it from you. I need the peak load. I need the SLAs for the response times. I need the performance critical transactions. I need all this information so that I can do my performance testing well. If you can't give this information well, whatever the testing I am doing, it is of my own whims. Okay, so you have to educate them and you have to get the information out of it. Okay, this is one challenge I have faced. Second challenge is people from the other side. There is no one person responsible. Okay, we wanted one single person responsible and he will give you all the information. No, people say that, oh, you want the volumes, you want the number of peak load, go to that person. Okay, you want the SLS, go to this person. You want performance critical transaction, go to that person. Okay, so there is no one person, so you have to talk to the gamut of people. You have to talk to whole lot of people before you can get all that information. Sometimes it is so stressful. Okay, so when you call for the meeting, right, somebody, they think that, oh, this information, probably Mark might give you this information well, but Mark will not be there in the meeting, so you have to follow up with him. Okay, this information, yeah, Stacy knows this, she has been working there for last 10 years, but we don't know why Stacy is not there in the meeting. Okay, so these kind of things will be there, and it's very lot of coordination, talking to lot of people will finally get you that non-functional requirements. Okay, this is some of the issues that I've faced. Some of the clients want everything, which is not possible. I had to explain. I'll tell you, when I said everything, when I talk about NFRs, I'll also talk about this. They want everything, which is not possible for performance testing team. Okay, so this is a very, very important challenge. Okay, you have to talk about. I missed this challenge, guys. So in the interview questions, you have to talk about this. Okay, clients, they have bigger expectations. They want everything to be done as a part of performance testing, which is not possible. As the experts, we know only this much is possible. Okay, but they want 100%. We know only 10% is possible. So that is the expectation you have to set. Not only that, you have to convince them. So this is a regular challenge which I have faced as well. Okay, which goes sometimes into heated arguments as well. Okay, so we collect most things first, then send a mail to the feedback. Yes, feedback means reply for the first thing. Yes. Okay, sometimes we want PPH, but they say monthly volume. Okay, guys, so these are the challenges. Once you've created this document, you have to send it for a sign off. Okay, you have to send it for a sign off. Everybody understands by sign off, guys? Everybody understands by sign off? Everybody understands by sign off, or should I tell you? Okay, so after it is done, you send this document to the client saying that, please read through all that. This is what I've collected. Are you happy with it? Then if you're happy with it, give a sign off saying that, oh, this is what it is. So once it is signed off, we will not entertain any changes in general. NFRs collected, signed off, frozen. That's it. There will not be any more changes. So before the sign off, client needs to think, is it this, or do I need to make any changes? Do I need to add anything to it? He needs to take that call. So once he has taken that call and once he has signed off, as a performance testing team, it is better we don't entertain any more changes, or in other words, we have frozen the non-functional requirement stage, which means that we will not revisit that stage again and go back and make the changes again. Okay, why? Because this document goes as an input for our next stage. What is the next stage? Test strategy and planning phase. What is the next stage? Test strategy and planning phase. And who is involved? Usually the test lead. Okay, sometimes test manager as well. Okay, there are no hard and fast rules, guys. Changes from project to project, company to company and all that, but this is a general ballpark thing. Okay, so I have seen a lot of projects wherein test manager was creating the test plan, but I've seen a lot of projects wherein test lead also does that, and test manager will do a peer review. Once the whole test plan is done, he will come and he will assist the test lead. I mean, do this, this is how it needs to be collected, this is where you have to go get the information from, and all that. He will be helping the test lead, but after everything is done, he will review it. So sometimes it is a combined effort of both of them. Sometimes it is the only effort of test lead. Sometimes it is the only effort of test manager. Okay. What do we do as a part of test plan, guys? You do the planning. Okay. I'm telling you guys, for everything you have to plan. For example, you wanted to buy a car, okay, a luxury car for yourself. I'm sure you will plan 2 years ahead, okay, saying that, I need to have this much salary, this much saving, and this is what it is. And you will also search for which car to buy and all that, so that best possible, I mean, when you spend the money, you have to get the best possible car. You also take the decision, should I buy a used car or a new car? So much planning goes before you buy the car. Okay, so you want to have the kids, so much planning goes before that. You wanted to throw a party, again there is some planning goes for it. You want to throw a party, it's not as if like you're throwing a party at 6 o'clock, you decide at 5 o'clock. No, at least 3 days before you plan it, right? You decide whom to call, you call them and buy the groceries, and then all the work that is required. There's some planning. So for every damn thing in the world, there is a planning. You're spending lots of money on this. There should be a planning as well. Okay, so whatever the planning that you have done, when I said whatever the planning the test manager, test lead has done, if they plan and put it in their mind, it is not good enough. When they plan, they have to put it on a piece of paper or on the document. So they create a test plan for that. They create a test plan. Why? Everything in the life you plan it. When you spend so much money, why don't you plan this? Okay, so you plan as to how you want to go ahead and do your performance testing. What kind of tools you will use, how many resources you need, what are the environment that you need. If this is the environment that you need, production like environment, who are the people who has to make that environment available to you? Okay, so if you have any issues in tools, what is the contingency plan, what are the risks associated with it, what is the exit criteria, what is the entry criteria, all that has to be properly planned and put it in the test plan. Okay, just for test planning I can take one. Risk, contingencies, mitigation, everything needs to be planned. Okay, all that goes into the test plan. And one more important thing which goes into the test plan is workload modeling. Very, very important thing which we will discuss maybe in the next class. Or if you think that so much theory I want to get into the tool, we'll start with the tool next class. If not, workload modeling. Okay, so workload modeling, it is one of the very, very important activity when it comes to performance testing. And there will not be any interview without a question being asked on this workload modeling. Okay, I'm telling you guys, there will not be a single interview without a question being asked on workload modeling. Okay, so we'll cover that. We'll definitely cover that. Okay, so it needs to be prepared. Okay, all the NFRs that you collect will help you in doing the workload modeling, and this workload modeling goes into your test plan as well. Okay, once this stage is done, okay, you send this document again for the sign off. Okay, SO means sign off, guys. Okay, I'm using the mouse, I'm not able to write everything. Just assume that this is a sign off. Okay, again you send the document for the sign off. Again the people will look into it and they say, oh, we are happy with your planning, you have done a wonderful planning, go ahead and start your testing. This is what they mean when they give a sign off to you. Okay, when they give a sign off to you, what do they telling you? Oh, you go ahead, everything is good, now you go ahead and start with your activities. Okay, now this test plan goes as an input for the next stage, which is test design and development. Test design and development. This is when the performance tester comes into picture, or performance test specialist. That's what I would like to call. Okay, some people call it as test analyst. Okay, some people call it as non-functional tester, but I would like to call it as performance test specialist. Okay, this is what my term, or you can call it as quality analyst, not quality analyst, test analyst is the guy. Okay, so what does this guy do now? He will look at the test plan, he will read through the plan, he will understand what needs to be done. Then he will start creating the test scripts. Okay, he will start creating the test scripts. If LoadRunner was decided for the project, he will use the LoadRunner tool and start creating the test scripts. Okay, that is for creating the scripts, you need to be good with LoadRunner. So that's the reason why you call it as performance. You call him as performance test specialist. Okay, now all the scripts are created, you need to go ahead and execute. You need to go ahead and execute. So once you execute, who will execute again? The same performance test specialist only. Performance test specialist only will execute the test. Okay, so get the test results. Okay, so in the results, okay, once you execute, you get the results. In the results, the very first thing that you look at is what, guys? Why are we doing the performance testing? If you look at the whole picture, okay, what is the first thing that you want to look at? Okay, in the results, speed, okay, or in other words, response times. That is the whole reason why we are doing performance testing. Response times for not one transaction, for all the transactions. Login transaction, send mail transaction, delete mail transaction, log off transaction, for all of them. You need, that is the first thing, you look in the results. How is my application performed? Okay, how is my application performed, or in other words, end-to-end transaction response times is what I mean. There are a lot of other things that you want to look at, which we will discuss, but just to get an idea as to what this one is, that is the first thing that you look at. Okay, if you are happy, this is where your life cycle ends, guys. You create a final report and you say, I am done with it. I am done with it. But if the response times are not good, let's say the SLA is 2 seconds, the SLA is 2 seconds, okay, but what you got for all the transactions is 5 seconds. 5 seconds is very, very bad. Okay, so you're not meeting the SLA. Now what needs to be done? What needs to be done? Okay, you do the analysis. When you do the analysis, you would know this, right? SLA is 2 seconds, but what you got is 5 seconds. You do that analysis, and if you're happy, as I've told you, you create a report and you close the release. But if you're not happy, then this is when bottleneck analysis happens. Bottleneck means the issue. Analysis means you have to analyze it. You remember Mark in the kitchen. He was analyzing as to why burger was taking 45 minutes. He's looking at everything as to what is going on. In other words, he was analyzing. Here also, you have to go into the architecture and analyze as to why the response times are high, or in other words, the speed is low. Okay, so this term is bottleneck analysis. Who will do this? Who will do this? Whole team. Typically, if there was a performance engineer, then he will do it. Okay, then he's the guy who will do it. But a lot of companies cannot afford a separate performance engineer, then the whole team will do it. When I said whole team, who all? Developers, performance testers, network administrators, server administrators, database guys, and whoever is involved. Okay, everybody as a team, they work to identify the issue, fix the issue. The problem is with there with the database admin teams will look into it. The problem is there with the network team, issue, the problem, the bottleneck is there in the networking team will look into it. The problem is there in the app server or the code developer. So all these people work together to identify the bottleneck and clear the issue. Usually the developers will take the lead. They are the ones who will coordinate with all these guys. They will coordinate with the networking team if there is an issue with the network. If they coordinate with the database team if there is an issue with the database. They are coordinating with the server team if there is an issue with the server. They are the ones who actually take the ownership in general, at least in my projects. Okay, but if there was a performance engineer, he's the one who will look into it. Okay, now once the bottleneck is cleared, all these people have worked together, did everything and all that, and once the issue is resolved, do you think you should test it again, or you say that, oh developer, let's say the developer is Mark here. Mark, we trust you. I know you do an amazing job. You should have really, if you have worked, I'm sure you would have taken away the issue. Is this what you tell Mark as a performance tester? Or you say, I know Mark, you're good. I know you would have taken away the issue, but I wanted to test it again to see if the issue has been taken away for sure or not. What do you do as a performance tester? Case 1 or case 2? Case 1 is, I trust you. I'm sure you would have taken it away. Case 2 is, I trust you, but I'll see it with my own eyes. I wanted to test it again. What do you do it? Case 1 or case 2? Case 2, guys. That's a simple, right? As a performance tester, you're responsible for the performance of the application, not the developer, not the team, not that working team, not the network guy, not the system admin guy. You are responsible for that. So you make sure that the speeds are good. If you want to make sure the speeds are good, you have to retest it again. Okay, so you will be sending, you will do the execution again, you take the results, you do the analysis, and if you're happy, you create a report, come out. If you're not happy, send it to again, one more iteration. He will look into it again, he will fix, he will give it to you Okay, you do this test. So this circle continues until you get a product which is fast enough. This circle continues, or these iterations here, each one is an iteration I'm calling. These iterations will continue as long as until the problem is fixed. So this is a performance testing life cycle, guys. They might not ask you in the interview the what is performance testing life cycle, but they ask you, in this stage what you have done, in that stage what you have done, did you do test planning? These kind of questions they might ask. So you have to be prepared for that. Okay, if you know the life cycle well, you'll be able to answer it well. And in US, definitely most of the questions, interview questions, will be around the process. Okay, in US as well, if a company like Infosys, Indian companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS are taking the interviews, they will go more into the technical side, like in LoadRunner, how to do that, how to pick some random value. They will ask that kind of questions. But in general, the other companies are there, they will ask you some process oriented questions like this. Okay, so in performance testing lifecycle, what are the stage, what is the NFRs that you have collected, or what kind of challenges you have done, or in the test plan, were you involved in the test plan? Those kind of questions will be asked. Okay,